Hey, what's up? Andrew here. It's like 2 in the morning. It's actually about 2:20 um, on the morning of Thursday, March 8th, 2012. Making up for a couple videos, took some time off. So this is just pretty much a continuation from the last video. Um, but today we're going to be talking about, let's see. And my schedule is a little weird this month, so we're going to be talking about the lecture that was on Saturday, March 3rd, and the lab that was on Monday, March 5th. So it was a little split. So let's start with the lecture. The lecture that day, we talked about recording with the Matrix, and then we also talked about in the second half different industry consoles, different digital consoles. So let's start with the Matrix recording stuff. And it wasn't also just about the Matrix, but we also were talking about the SSL AWS 900, I do believe, yeah. So the thing with let's go back to the Matrix. The thing with the Matrix is that, like, if you want to record with it, you need to have outboard preamps because the Matrix does not have any. It's basically a big, huge controller surface. Basically, it doesn't have any preamps. It doesn't have anything. Basically, like if you look at a picture of the back of the Matrix, it's all a bunch of D-sub connectors. So it's kind of strange. But yeah, there's no outboard preamps. And you have to, let's see, so there's two ways to feed the DAW. You have your direct outs and record bus, and usually you'd have your record bus going to something else, and then your DAW, of course, going to your DAW system. We also looked at a bunch of basically how the signal flow works. I mean, it's really confusing. Like, there's just so much to say about it, the notes that we have. They're not really notes. I guess they're the key slides or whatever. But it's just so much stuff on one little slide. Let's see. I'll read you a little bit. Placing a preamp before the input will yield the best quality as the chop source will now be input, only goes through one circuit. This will be recommended for a special outboard channel, as seen here. The downside is that it is not easily available for other channels and/or will not be easily available to use during the mixing process unless a traditional patch bay is utilized. So you see what I'm saying? It's just like a lot of stuff, and that was like a little paragraph in the corner of the thing. So definitely it was just giving tons of tips and stuff. And then we got into the larger hybrid recording, like with the AWS 900, which has preamps. Yay! And that console can record up to 24 individual channels at a time, plus the output's going to record bus as well. It also does have a record bus, and we also looked at the same type of slide with tons of pictures and paragraphs as well. I'm not really sure how to summarize those because there's just so much, and there's different pictures of microphones and consoles and amps and outboard gear and awesome things. And then there's a slide that talked about the external pre's on the console with pre's, I guess. It doesn't really make sense, actually, now that I look at it. But basically, the summary of the whole thing is that signal flow is obviously very important. If you go to Full Sail, if you want to come here, you got to learn signal flow. If you want to, I mean, even if you don't want to come to Full Sail, if you like decide it's not right for you, but you still want to do audio, signal flow, learn it. And understand that with signal flow, at least with the digital console, there's tons of options. It's not like with analog where it's one way the whole time. I mean, with digital, you choose what the signal flow is, so there's a lot of things you can do. The console layout is vastly different from mixing. So your different modes are going to do different things, obviously. And different consoles were designed for a particular set of genres and needs, So, I mean, obviously, it's like, you're not going to see someone using, like the 9000J in a live setting or whatever. That's just dumb. So, it's kind of like instruments. You have your different instruments for your different types of music and applications. Consoles, you have your different types of consoles for different needs. So that's very important to understand as well. I think the Matrix is a pretty good all-around thing. I mean, there's some things that you really wouldn't want to or wouldn't normally see it being used for, but I mean, for only $22,000, it's a pretty cool console. If I could buy one myself, I probably would because it's small, it would fit in my house, and I could do everything from there. So, you know, I mean, I would buy one if I had the cash. And then at the end, or the second half of lecture, it was really short. We just took a look at a bunch of different awesome consoles. Like, I mean, some of these things were just cool. Like the big one, the SSL Duality, ridiculous. We also checked out the AMS Neve Genesis, which is a hybrid console. The Neve 88D, the Harrison Series 12. I think that, yeah, these were the ones that were damn expensive. Like in the early 1990s, the one console was worth like $1.6 million. Ridiculous. And then also we checked out the audio post-production consoles like the Harrison MPC-4D. Now we have one here at school in the dubbing stage, and it's just ridiculous. Like like think of a movie theater, and in the very back row there's a console the entire way down the whole thing. It's got like 128 or something channels. It's ridiculous. 160 channels. Excuse me. It's so insane. We also looked at the Harrison Tryon, I think is how you spell it. That's a pretty cool console as well. Another audio post console is the AMS Neve DFC series. And of course, SSL has their audio post like the C200 and the C300, which the C300 is obviously a little bit bigger. I can't remember if we have either of those at the school, but I'm certain we do. Avid, of course, also has their console line with the Icon D Control, the Icon D Command, and then the Control 24. Let's see, what else? We also looked at smaller things for like home studio things, project studio solutions. Like the SSL Nucleus is a really small one. It does a lot as well. In addition, Mackie has some stuff. I mean, Mackie, you're going to get what you pay for, but Mackie has some small things as well. We also took a look at live sound consoles, such as like the DigiDesign consoles, like the D-Show and the Profile. The SC48, excuse me, SC48 is also another console, which is the one we're learning on this month. Actually, we're getting ready to go into it pretty soon. Digico also has some consoles, the SD7, SD8, and the SD8-24, as well as the SD10, SD9, the D5, D1, all these different types of consoles. Yamaha, of course, obviously. Yamaha makes dirt bikes, too, if you didn't know. Allen & Heath has some consoles, Tascam, Soundcraft. I know I'm naming off a lot of stuff, but we went through a lot of stuff. That's how we do work here. And then there's also different broadcasting consoles. SSL and Neve have really good ones. And basically, analog studios, really big and expensive. The thing about it's like there really should not be any argument between analog and digital because, I mean, honestly, as long as it sounds good, like as long as the outcome sounds good, who cares how you got there? You know what I mean? So it's all about what sounds good. And if digital is way more cost efficient, it's space efficient, and it's definitely probably a lot more like what's the word, maintenance. It's easier to maintain and stuff. So I'm not gonna say I'm a digital person, but it certainly is a lot easier. So I guess the final kind of summary of the whole thing is learn both. Learn analog and learn digital, but especially learn digital because 80%, I mean, you're rarely ever going to see an analog console anymore, so you might as well get used to the idea of digital. So anyway, that was the lecture for Saturday. I know I said it was short, and it was, but there was a lot of stuff we were just kind of looking at and thinking about. The second lab was cool because it was like we started to get into, well, not only did we have to review obviously the stuff that we did in the first lab, which is like the basic of the basic. I mean, it was easy, but we started to get into the channel groups. We made different channel groups, and we also started to patch in some outboard gear. So we did time and dynamic based outboard gear effects, and we had to, like, use the project that we did last time and whatnot. So the lab, again, it was the stuff that we did in the advanced, or that we discussed in the advanced matrix console functions lecture, which for my particular lab group, our labs are like way after we talk about stuff, so it's a little weird. But my lab was on Monday. Yeah, it was on Monday, and it was at 9 o'clock at night, of course. And they're actually, like I said, they're a blast. I love playing around with the Matrix. It's cool, it's fun, it's a nice little console. Definitely not the most extravagant and flashy one, but it's pretty awesome nonetheless. I'm trying to remember everything we did. We took a snapshot and did learn how to do the total recall. Let's see. The fader group, or the channel groups, was the biggest one. It was really cool. And then, of course, there's your signal flow on how to get the time-based effects patched in and whatnot, which is a little more complicated than the dynamic ones. You got to remember to hit the insert button, and also when you're doing total recall, don't forget to select and then unselect the enable button. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but once you get to this class, remember the enable button. If you have Christmas trees, make them go away by hitting the enable button. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this video a wrap. Everything's going pretty good so far. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to make one more quick video tonight talking about the last lecture that I had on Tuesday, but we'll worry about that then. Hopefully I'll see you there. Subscribe if you're digging it, or if you don't like it and you just like to make fun of me or something, subscribe still. That's cool. But anyway, thanks for tuning in nonetheless. Hope you can get something out of the videos. I do enjoy sharing my experiences here. So yeah, I'll see you hopefully in the next video. And until then, take it easy.